Hi there, this is Tom Isaac, and I'm here to help you through the new version 3 of the time value of money assignment. So, in this assignment, we're going to study the concept of the time value of money. And quite simply, the time value of money just says, I'd rather have a dollar today than a dollar tomorrow. And so the difference between getting a dollar today and a dollar tomorrow is what we get compensated for when we get interest. So when we borrow money, we pay interest to the person who's lending it to us. And when we deposit money, we get paid interest by the bank or whoever we've deposited that money with. Well, we're going to look at that in this particular exercise. And so in this exercise, we're going to look at a couple of different types of problems. So you should have open the time value of money assignment version 3, and this is what version 3 looks like. And it has 3 parts to it. In part 1, we're going to look at the future value of money practice problems. We're going to look at 2 different scenarios in there. Then in part 2, we're going to look at present value of money practice problems. And then in part 3 is going to be your chance to apply one of these particular types of scenarios to your personal savings goal. And you're going to use these calculators here to be able to do that. So let's take a quick look at this worksheet. So you're going to put your work in the yellow boxes for parts 1 and 2, and your answers are going to come out here in the purple boxes. So in the first part, we're going to look at the future value of money. And so what the future value of money says is, if I have money which I deposit now, what's that money going to be worth in the future? And so scenario 1 is the simplest of all of those cases. And so you can see in this case, we're going to deposit an amount now. That's called the present value. We're going to earn an interest rate, and then you're going to do that for a certain number of years. And that's going to tell you what that's worth. So in the particular example shown here for scenario number 1, we're going to put $1,000 in at 3% for 5 years. And you can see what this calculator does using this equation is it comes up with a value that says $1,159.27, or a total amount of interest which you will earn over that period of $159.27. First question you might be asking is, well, wait a minute, if it's 3% on $1,000, isn't that $30 and we earn $30 for 5 years? Isn't that $150? And if there was no compounding, yes, you would be right. But this assumes what we call annual compounding. So since the term is expressed in years, we're going to get interest on our interest. So in this particular case, at the end of year 1, we're going to get paid $30 worth of interest. Now for the beginning of year 2, we're going to earn interest not on $1,000, but on $1,030. So we earn interest on our interest. That's called compounding. And that's why we end up at $159, not $150. So that's a very simple, the simplest of all future value of money practice problems. Scenario 2 is slightly different. Scenario 2 says, well, what if I deposit $1,000 every year? So what this says is I deposit $1,000 at the start of every year for a certain number of years. How much money will I have at the end of that time period? So in this case, we're going to deposit $1,000 at the start of every year. We're going to earn 3% on that money, and we're going to do that for 5 years. So then the question is, how much money will we have at the end of 5 years? You can see the equation down here is a little bit more complicated, but this is what it gives us as an answer. So we're going to earn a total of $468.41 of interest, And in that particular case, that gives us a total future value, including the sum of all those periodic payments, of $5,468.41. Again, that same principle of compounding applies, and that's why it comes out as slightly above what you would do if you did that by simple math. So those are the two scenarios which you're going to do for the Part 1 future value of money practice problems. The second way we can look at the time value of money is if I'm going to give you $1 a year from now, what's that worth to you today? And so we're going to do what are called present value of money practice problems. Present value of money practice problems is just kind of working the same math, just the other way around. So for example, in scenario number 3, we're going to say, I need to have $1,000 5 years from now. Well, how much at 3% over 5 years, how much do I need to put into the bank today? So what that says is if I put in $862.61, I will earn a total of $137.39 in interest over 5 years. That means I will end up with $1,000 5 years from now. So you can see how it's basically just like scenario 1, but just thought about from the other perspective. I need $1,000 in the future. What do I need to put in the bank today? So that's scenario 3. And then scenario 4, which is in our present value of money problems, is the same concept, the present value of an annuity. What if I need to have $5,000 5 years from now at 3% interest? How much do I have to put into the bank every year? And so what this says, I'm going to deposit $914.34 every year for 5 years. I will earn $428.29 in interest. Therefore, I will end up with $5,000 of my future as my future value. So again, this is like scenario 2, but instead of saying how much money am I going to have in the future, I'm telling you I need to have $5,000 in the future, so how much do I have to put into the bank to be able to do that? So those are the 4 practice problems, and that's exactly what I need you to do. One of the things I would like you to do is start playing around with these particular calculators. So in this case, one of the things that you can do is you can look at how does the future value of my money change based upon different parameters. So it should be pretty intuitive to you that if I go through and change the interest rate from 3% to 6%, that in fact you can see the amount of interest just about doubles and the total future value is higher. And then of course, going back to 3% here, if I increase the term for a greater number of years, so I go from 5 years to 10 years, then again, the total amount of interest also doubles. So you'll notice as well that the total amount of interest, so you would say $1,000, 3%, that's $30 per year, 10 years, that's $300. You can see that total interest, $343.92. That extra $43.92 is because of compounding of interest again. So play with these and see how they change based upon how you change the input parameters. Now, the last part of this exercise is applying these to your specific savings goals. So you need to figure out, what are my savings goals? So as I work through and think about, can I put money away? Can I save money through the years as I get into year 1 of my personal life map portfolio project? What do I want to save for? Am I saving for a rainy day, meaning I just want to put some money aside and be able to hopefully have some greater amount of money in the future? That's an admirable savings goal. And so if you did that, you would probably use a part one future value of money type of problem. I'm going to put away, say I'm going to put away some money now, and I got to figure out in a couple of years what's that going to be worth at what interest rate. Or maybe I'm going to try to put a certain amount of money away every year, and what's that going to be worth in the future. So you can use either scenario one calculator or scenario two's calculator for those types of problems. On the other hand, your savings goal might be something different. It might be, I want to be able to buy a house 5 years from now, and I know that I'm going to need to have $20,000 as a down payment for that house. So that would be a present value of money type of practice problem. So if I've got a need to have $20,000 5 years from now, I can either use scenario number three's calculator and say, okay, I need to have $20,000. What interest rate do I think I can earn? And that's 5 years from now. Therefore, I need to put away $17,252 right now. Well, geez, if I could earn a higher interest rate, maybe I could earn 5% instead of 3%. You can see the actual amount that I have to put away today goes down. I could also say instead of putting one lump sum of money away now, I need $20,000 in the future. How much do I have to put away? Well, if I can earn 3%, and I'm going to do that every year, that put away money every year for the next 5 years, then I need to put away $3,657.37 every year, and in 5 years I'll have my down payment for my house. And again, you can see how if you raise the interest rate, the amount that you have to put away goes down because of that interest, and particularly the compounding. So I don't know what your particular savings goals are, but that's what I want you to think about. And so what you're going to do is you're going to put those savings goals in this part 3-1 spot in blue, and you're going to enter just describing your savings goals in words. Then tell me which of the 4 calculators are you using. So calculator 1, 2, 3, or 4. Which one are you using? And then you're going to tell me what are the input values that you're using for your calculations. So you need all the stuff that you're going to be putting in the yellow boxes. So what are those? Part 3.4 asks you specifically to tell me how you figured out the interest rate. You cannot just say, oh, Mr. Isaac used 3% as the default, I'm going to use that. No, you need to go out and investigate what are the interest rates which you can earn. Are you going to put your money in a savings bank? Are you going to put your money into a commercial bank? Are you going to put it into a money market fund? Are you going to put it into, I don't know what you're going to put it into. But whatever it is, you need to have an idea of what interest rate you expect to earn. And in part 3.4, you need to tell me exactly what interest rate you're going to use, why, and what is your source for that information. Be specific. And then lastly here, in part 3.5, you're going to go through and tell me what were the results that you got and how did those compare to your expectations. Based upon those results, did you decide to change your savings goal as a result of learning what you did in this exercise? So you're going to fill those answers out in these blue spots in part 3. So that is the time value of money assignment version 3. If you have any questions, please reach out to your instructor and they can help you. Please make sure that you're using version 3. If you're not using version 3, then I would suggest that you go back and make sure that you're looking at the right video for your version. If your instructor used version 2 of the time value of money assignment, you can go back and watch the video for version 2. Again, if you have any questions, please reach out to your instructor. Thank you.